Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm back with almost finished bracelet using these lovely Swarovski Rivolis. Let me see if I can get some more light here. There we go. And yeah, so I thought it would take 7 to make a 7.5-inch bracelet with the attachment beads, and actually I switched from pearls to these lovely 5mm bicones. They're Swarovski as well, and then I use this clasp. Now this clasp is a little bit long, considering that you have to consider that amount in your bracelet. So let's take a look. So it's about an inch and a half. So again, I thought I would only need 7, but I've measured it so many times against my mandrel, so I went ahead and did another one. So I'm going to show you how I attach these. These are super simple. Like, you can put whatever beads you like to attach. I've done multiple bracelets with 4mm pearls, 6mm pearls, 8mm pearls. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with some more different ideas for this, because I started looking online and I couldn't really find a lot of creative designs that have the attachments. So yeah, I came up with this. So let's get some of these out. We're going to need 4 of these beautiful Swarovskis. These are 5mm and they are gorgeous. And I am shocked at how well they blend with these. Gorgeous. And we're going to I'm using demi round 11. And these are inside color rainbow crystal. So the inside color is white, and then it has the rainbow like luster on the outside, and rainbow AB. You can maybe see a bit here. Let's see if I can shine it a bit. So we only need a few of those, but oops, we'll put those out. You can use whatever you have on hand. I just thought I wanted the crystals to be the star of the show, but when I tried to attach just the straight crystals, it looked unfinished. So that's why it was really nice to have a thin, bead that could help with that. So let's bring this up. So if you're interested in making this bracelet, you can go back and take a look at the video. I show you how to bezel this. This one ended up taking me maybe 10 minutes. Now, the one thing I did notice is I kept both needles on each side. So in the last video, I talk about using both sides of your bezel to tighten, to get the right tension on your thread. And I did find that it made it a lot simpler if I kept both needles, like put a needle on each side and just went back and forth and tightened. And what I want to say is that it's really important to maybe go through it a second time on the back side, and once or twice more on the front, to really get it. You don't want this coming apart on your, once you've made the bracelet. So let's see which one here I have. So normally I get rid of the extra thread, but since we're going to be putting a clasp on the other side, we'll hang on to that in case we need it. So we're going to start by attaching this one here, and since I have my needle on this thread, we're going to go from here. Now, to attach, I find a middle bead. Since it's peyote, you can see this one here becomes the middle bead. Let me get this a little more centered here. So have my thread coming out of this bead here. And what we're going to do is we're going to attach everything through that. So the demi round and the 5mm bicone. Now when we go to add the second one, because we've added two, we're going to go across. So don't count this bead, but if you see the next set of beads are two beads that are one on top of the other, and then this middle bead, and then another one on top of the other. This little H is going to be your space in between your bead, and then use this side for the second, this bead by itself for the second crystal. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I just found to get this nice spacing, and I kept everything straight. So when you put your bracelet that way, you could actually make a line all the way through the whole bracelet, and these will always align. So that's what you call the OCD method. So let's pick up a demi round and a 5mm Swarovski crystal, another demi round, and I'm going to bring it down so that I have an idea where things are. Now for this one, we have to figure out where our attachment is going to be. So we are going to take our needle and we're going to place it in line with the crystals that are already attached. So something like that. And if we look, this is the single bead. And then we have our H pattern on that side and then the single bead. So I put it through it first, and then I double check where my alignment is to make sure. Sometimes you might have to pull it apart, but this is going to sit a little like that, and that looks good, accurate. So now what we're going to do, this part's pretty simple. So we went in to this side of this single bead. We're coming out of it. We're going to go back through the demi round, the 5mm crystal, and the demi round. And you're going to take a look at your single bead. You can see the threads coming out of this side. We're going to go to the other side, and that will line up the beads perfectly on top of that single bead. And then we're going to go through this a few times till you feel it's nice and snug. And then we're going to slide over our H and go through on the other single bead and add some crystals. This, you know, as you're working it gets loose and stuff, no big deal. Just make sure you tighten it at the end. So I'm going to go through everything again. I went through my attachments maybe 3 times each. So just remember you want to do that. The other thing is you might want to use a thicker thread too. So I could have easily used, I'm currently using a size 5 dragon thread. I could have used a size 6, and you know, it being stronger, you would not have to worry too much. So let me just go through everything again. Demi round crystal. Wow, looking at the this Swarovski crystal in the light is just phenomenal. Some of the darker Swarovski crystals, when you look at it sitting in a baggie like this, you're like, oh, I don't know, it's nice. But then once you take it out of the bag and then the light hits it, oh, it's so beautiful. So let's go through this side here. Now I'm going to tighten this exactly where I want it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go past my little H here, and I'm going to do it on an angle. So I'm going to go up through this bead and then across these 3. That will be my H. and you can tighten at this point as well. See how it tightens it? Now, we want to be our thread coming out of here. You can like do a crisscross, and then that keeps this thread tight, but we're going to go back and tighten it anyway. So I'm going to go through the single bead, and that's where we're going to attach our next crystal. So pick up a demi round, a crystal, and a demi round. And now we need to find our H pattern and our single bead on this side. So let me just bring those down there. Okay, so if you look, this one's the single one here, right there. Here's our H, and this is the single bead here. So you can go through that, like that, then go back through everything again, like that. And again, pay attention to the thread, which way the thread's coming out of that single bead. So it's coming out on this side. Let's see if I can show that to you. So it's coming out of this side, so we're going to go in the other side. And like I said, all it does is, once I pull it tight, it snugs the bead right to that area. That, it's nice and tight. So we'll go through this a couple of times, and then we'll go back over through the other. So this is super simple to attach. Go through your single bead here. This is the part I enjoy so much. It's so gratifying when everything starts to come together. And I'm just tightening that. Now, if you want to go back through this one, then we can do that. Let me just go through the opposite side of that bead to continue to position it in the middle there, like that. Yeah, those are tight. I think this one needs to be tightened. So just make your way over. Let's go through this bead. And let me turn it around here. Go through here. Let's pull this. Okay, I see. So I'm going to go through the, like, across these two. So I'm going to go in through here, that, in through that one. And now I can go across 3 beads. Like that. And then we can crisscross to the back here. Look at where we are. Perfect. So then our thread's coming out of this bead. We're going to go through the single bead. And we're going to go through our demi round, our crystal, and the demi round. Now let's go through that single bead. And go back through. And that should be tight now. Let's come out this way. tight. There, you can see it pulled it nicely. Now let's go across and weave this thread around, and we'll use the other thread to attach the clasp. So we're going to go across 3 here. There, those 3. If I pause, it's because I'm looking at the camera to see if you guys can see what I'm seeing. And the funny thing is, I see better with the camera than I do with my design. I think it's because the camera is closer to my eyes, so I can actually see. Now I'm going to go across this way. There's 2 beads. Things are starting to get tight now because I've gone through things a few times. I'm using a size 12 needle in case you're wondering. Okay, so now I'm just going to go across this way to the bead next to it and then through 3 like that. And that's it. So let's, I'm going to leave it on. We'll cut it at the end in case it's happened before where I'm almost done and I don't have enough thread. So we could salvage that thread. See, I've learned something today in beading. So now what we're going to do, let's see if I can show this to you. We are going to attach this side of the clasp with crystals, creating a kind of angle into the flower. So let's start by taking this off. There. So we're going to attach. I start by attaching 2, I guess I'm going to need those, 2 of the Delicas that we use to create this. And part of the reason is I didn't want it to stand out too much, so I want it to look like it's part of the bezel. So we just need 2 of those. Okay. Let's get to the side and we will get this thread. So this is the final bracelet for Kath. What I'll be doing is I'm going to mail this to her tomorrow to England, and but I'm going to do a reveal. These have to be cleaned here. I'm going to do a reveal for everyone before, like as I'm putting them in the package, and then I'll be releasing the videos of how to make each bracelet. So it'll be more like a preview to these bracelets. So let me just double check here. So we need to find the center, and let me see how I did that. So there's a middle bead that should line up exactly with the clasp, and then you would go over to the next middle bead on each side. Okay, I think I have it. So I'm going to need to move this over. So let's start by finding the middle. So something like this. So maybe that bead there. Let's start by moving our thread over like this. Let's hope that looks like it's it. So now we do want to be going through this middle bead. Let me see. I may have attached. So if you look at the clasp, it has bars. It has a bar right here at the very midpoint. So I think I may have gone through with my thread first in there and then added the beads and gone through the side bars. Let me double check that. No, it looks like I just went ahead and added these right away. So we'll do it the same way, which means if that's the middle and we want the next middle bead, so we're going to skip these two side beads and we're going to come out this one here. So we can do it just like that. Pick up a delica and pick up our clasp in that middle bar, then pick up another delica, and then so we're coming out of this middle bead, we're going to go through this. I'm getting dizzy. Which bead is it? Okay. So we want to come through this one. Let's see where that takes us. And let's take a look. I feel like I think what I did wrong here is I'm coming from the outside of that bead. I should be at the center, towards the center. So let's go back here, go through everything off your needle. There. So if you look, I'm coming from the outside of that single bead. I want to be on the inside of it. So let's see. You know what? I'm just going to go up this one and we'll go over and back. And that will take us to the inside of that middle bead. That should do it. So pick up your 11-0 delica. Make sure your clasp is on the right side. I've done that. That's not fun. And then pick up your other delica. So you have the H pattern here. You want to be coming into the middle of that. That's better. So you see how it fits nicely there. So now we're just going to go through this a few times. So we're coming out of that middle bead. We're going to go through the delica and the clasp, and then through this delica and through that middle bead. Tight. And now to come back around, we're going to have to secure the thread. So you're going to go through that next side bead and you're going to go over to the bead next to it and come through, and you can go through that middle bead. And look at the needle wants to go in that direction. Just make sure you're on the correct side of the bar of your clasp, because you're now angled here. You might catch the next bar. So there, that. what to do. Pull that through. And then down this bead. And now I'm going to go through a few beads here. And we're going to add the crystals on. Like that. I think I'll have to double check the other side. So let's see where we went through on the crystal. So we actually went quite a ways down on an angle. So if you see, there's the middle bead here. There. So, yeah, that's the middle bead. Then there's two beads side by side. So there's a H right there. You want to be going into the last part of the H near the back. So let's see where that takes us here. I'm going to go through towards the back. And I think this might be different on this side. Doesn't quite look the same, but we'll see the length of our crystals. So let's I put a Delica, a demi round, a crystal, and a demi round. Let me see, yeah, and another Delica. So we may have to put out some more Delicas. We will actually. Let's see. So, like that. And it's going to go through there. So that actually is perfect. That's exactly what I want. So you can see there's another bar here. So we're going to go through this bar. That. Bring your thread around like that. And go back through what you just added. That. Tight. And go back through that single bead. That. This is going to come out the back, I can tell. It's got a mind of its own. And just kind of, let's double check this here. Yeah, that should do it. So let's move our thread to the other side. So go through a few of these. Make sure that's all tight. And through a few more of these. Okay, so let's double check which hole we have to be positioned in. Okay, oh, it's the other thread that's in the way. That's why I like cutting them off. Okay, so we have the edge of the H. So there's the middle bead, and so we need to be coming out of this one. So we'll just take our thread like that. We're going to pick up a Delica, a demi round, a crystal, That delica looks pretty skinny. There we go, and another delica. So that's what you're going to put on there. And just kind of eyeball it to make sure. Yeah, looks good. So go through this bar here. It might be easier to come out through the back and then go back to the other side of the bar. Like this. That. Then go to the other side of the bar. So we can come back through everything. Like that. And I'm going to draw it in a little more so my thread got loose there. And go up through this side bead. That's where we went in. And that should pull it. Oh, this is going to look amazing. Okay, I need to do a loop with this. So I'm going to try and come through a few beads here. There. Oh, so this is, you know, like part of the problem of doing some of these things is it gets caught in stuff. But just hang in there. I'm going to move my needle to the back again to go through a few beads here. So I'm just going to bring my thread across, down, go through here. And I'm pulling really hard and it's not going anywhere. Now, you can go back through these to tighten them, but I think they're fine. So let's tie off these threads. And then we are going to put a package together for Kath. Trying to get this so it doesn't go through the tiny bead at the front. There we go. You can go through them, but I prefer not to. I don't want them being altered in any way. So I'm just crisscrossing through a letter H. That. And then let's go down to the back and cut this thread. That. There, and we are set to cut both of these off. So this turned out super amazing. Now let's take a look. Isn't that wild? Let's enlarge this a bit so you can see. Let's open up the clasp. So this class is part of a unboxing of clasps that I got from AliExpress. So if you're interested, the links are in that video. So just go back. It's like a ton of these really blingy type designs, but so this turned out lovely. Ta-da! Oh yeah, that's lovely. So I wanted to make sure that I made a bracelet that wasn't too blingy, because in the previous one I did gold, and it was very blingy. So there it is. Thank you for joining me. It's a little quick one. I'm surprised it didn't take that long. There we go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.